Welcome to Soni Irabor Live. Tonight we're discussing healthy living, and it's a very special one because of the way things have been happening around us. Is the economy good? Fine, we can manage it. What about the society itself? How are you coping with your emotional situation? Is there any kind of trauma if things are not working the way you expect them to be? Or you have certain symptoms that you're not too sure about, but you just conclude that all is well. Are you living in denial? Do you have some kind of stress-related problem or emotions? Or are you in a state where your body is not speaking well to you, but you really don't know how to take it, and you don't want to see a doctor? Some people say prayers will do the wonders, but sometimes I'm not too sure if that's always the case, because heaven helps those who help themselves. So we decided that we should talk to a specialist in integrated medicine, wellness, stress-related issues, all kinds of things, but she's going to use her language to, you already know is a woman, right? Okay. She's going to use her language to express everything in a way and manner you and I will understand, and we'll begin to tackle them one by one. Yes, I also remember too, depression and things like that. Okay, when you are in a relationship, how do you manage it? When your children, as you are a parent, and your children and you are not in a way that there's some kind of symbiotic relationship that engenders happiness, how do you handle it? And you, the children too, and I mean children in your 20s or 30 years and all that, how do you handle your own situation with your parents? Suicide, hypertension, at a young age. What's happening in our society? You hear that 15-year-old has hypertension. 20-year-old is feeling suicidal. What kind of symptomatic or otherwise things are these? We don't know. But I am happy to bring to you a distinguished lady, Dr. Ifeyinwa Nwakwesi, who is, in fact, let me begin to ask her. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Can you just tell me one by one what the areas of medicine that you're practicing?
Right. Soni, thank you so much for bringing me to this show. I am an integrative healthcare practitioner,
Okay.
a cell revitalization,
Okay.
stress, nutrition, and personal development specialist.
That's a whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, how do I know I have things are not working well with me? If, for example, I'm not working at optimum, but I would take it for granted that I just feel tired, I want to sleep. Okay. How do I know things are not
I always take ill health from the integrative perspective.
Okay.
And that is that WHO defines health as a state of spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical balance.
Okay.
That is how I look at health, and a lot of other integrative healthcare practitioners look at health. So health is not merely the absence of disease or infirmity.
Okay.
It is a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical balance. So I think that the medical doctors look mostly at the physical side.
Okay.
The pastors and the priests look mostly at the spiritual side.
Okay.
The psychologists and the psychiatrists look mostly at the mental and emotional side. And that is where we're getting it wrong. The body is interrelated.
Okay.
It's a whole being. Spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. So you need to be able to balance the individual in all these aspects. Because once there's an imbalance in one aspect, it affects the whole of the others. That is the base message.
How do I know when there is an imbalance of sorts?
Well, your imbalance can come in one form or the other.
Okay.
Sometimes it starts with a spiritual imbalance. Sometimes it starts with a mental and emotional imbalance.
I like that spiritual imbalance.
Yes,
We'll go back
yes.
to that later. But
And sometimes it comes with a physical imbalance. And if you keep looking at one side, you're not going to get it. You have to be able to look at the individual in a holistic perspective.
Okay.
And if somebody, for instance, has hypertension, I'm not saying that drugs are not necessary. Drugs are sometimes necessary, but they're not absolutely necessary in all cases.
So you're saying we shouldn't jump into taking drugs like that?
I am saying that there's a need to find out why that individual is having hypertension. It could be a relationship problem. It could be a marital problem. It could be a financial problem. It could be spiritual. So it's important that you dig in. But of course, I don't blame our medical practitioners. There's not enough time. There's so many patients that are getting ill and needing support. So it's not easy for them to find time to deal with the root of the illness. And that is why integrative healthcare practitioners are coming on board. They spend time to find out the root causes of the illness.
Okay.
And then they deal with the illness from the roots and uproot it, so that the body that actually has an innate healing ability can heal itself. The body actually has an innate healing ability. Give the body what it requires, the oxygen, water, and nutrients. The body has capacity to heal itself.
Just regenerate.
Regenerate. Itself. The cells have capacity to regenerate.
Okay. Now, somebody has a situation where he's grappling with how to solve it. But then he's also in denial because he's not, go and see a doctor, say, no, I don't want to see a doctor. Okay, go and see a pastor, say, I'm not in that prayer mode. Because everybody is living a line of suspicion these days.
Yes.
You don't know who to trust. You don't even know whether you trust yourself. How do you manage that kind of scenario? What do you advise? There's so many people out there.
Okay, Soni, this is a very interesting topic for me because that's what I live every day.
Okay.
I see a lot of people that are dealing with all kinds of issues. Like I always say, it could be spiritual issues, it could be mental issues, it could be emotional issues, and they are just living in denial. They don't even understand that they have a capacity to decide what to do with themselves. I always say something. I think that God has answered all our prayers. All that we're waiting for is to actualize God's prophecies in our lives, so that our lives can be the phenomenal pieces that God created. But you know something? Many of us do not spend time proactively managing our mental and emotional self. So we get into all kinds of issues. Our mindsets are not positively programmed. They are so negatively programmed, and it is disempowering the individual on a daily basis. It can disempower you in your relationships because your mindset is so negatively programmed. It can be a problem in a marriage, and the people are just like fighting each other for no reason.
When they should be discussing their problems
when
with
they
each
should
other.
discuss their problems. So I actually advise people, especially Nigerians, to read a lot of books on developing the mindset. Because we all came into this world and we began to be faced with all kinds of societal issues, television, advertisements. You know that negative stories sell better than positive, true or false?
And social media has not taken
Yes.
over, right? Okay.
Negative stories sell better. So we are all negatively programmed in our brains. But there are strategies to deprogram your brain from negative to positive.
Let's start with that. How
Yes.
do you deprogram your brain?
Well, it's an art. You first of all have to accept that you have a problem. If you don't accept and you're living in denial, you will never seek help. If you first of all accept that you have a weakness, and that weakness is not a mental illness, it's just a weakness of the mind and the soul.
Yeah.
Then there are strategies. There are a lot of books around that people that have been divinely ordained have written so that people can read and get knowledge. But you know, Nigerians, we don't have time to read.
I was going to say, what of those who are not reading inclined, or those who are not even knowledgeable enough or literate enough to read?
There are role models in society.
Okay.
You have role models in society. There's nobody that doesn't have somebody they can look up to go for when there's an advice. But the problem is, will you listen? Some people are just so stubborn. They don't even look when you're giving them an advice. So the problem is, you can seek a role model to help you in areas of your weakness. The area of weakness is not a fault. It is just a message for you to get to your next standard.
Okay.
It's not a weakness. Accepting your challenge is not a weakness. It's actually a sign of strength to go to your next level. I have a program I teach young people how they can actually proactively manage their mindset so that their thought processes, because every day thoughts come into your brain.
In fact, even when you're sleeping,
When you're sleeping,
something negative just crops in there.
Yes, it's
Okay.
not every thought that comes into your brain that you must accept. You must be able to question your thought processes. If a thought is coming and it's not going to empower your life, break the pattern, throw it away. You've got to ask yourself, this thought process, is it going to empower me or is it going to disempower me? If you get a negative, it's not going to empower you, throw it away. It's not every thought. You must stand guard at the door of your mind and don't allow negative thoughts to come and distort your life.
On that very advisory note, you must stand guard at the door of
Yes.
your mind. Oh, wow, that's very poetic and
That is
proverbial.
it.
We'll just take a short break and be right back. Mind you, you're going to have a time to call us because a lot of issues are being addressed there, and I know all of you out there are being touched one way or the other. We'll be right back. Stand guard at the door of your mind. That's how we concluded the last segment of the show. Well, we're back on, and we have Dr. Ifeyinwa Nwakwesi. She's an integrated
medicine, cell revitalization, stress, nutrition, and personal development specialist.
Okay, and you're not doing badly at all because you're raising my hopes as you're speaking.
Yes.
Many of us have been victims of all kinds. I mean, I want to believe that if you are in Nigeria and you're going through the things we go through now, you probably will be asking yourself, how am I surviving? Many people have no take-home pay. That means the take-home pay cannot take them home. They don't have enough. So that's financial situation. Then there's job or business situation. There's marital, as you mentioned. Economic, all kinds of situations. How do we begin to address each one by one? If I have financial situation, what do I do?
Well, Soni, you know I'm not a financial expert.
Yeah, okay, but how do I handle?
But
yeah.
I know that whatever you become in life is largely dependent on what you make out of your life.
So we must plan well.
We must plan well.
Okay.
And I also am aware that the past does not equal the future.
Huh.
The fact that you do not have advantages, maybe call them genetic advantages, parental advantages, family advantages, education, is not an excuse. Some people who didn't have any of those made it big in life. So the truth about the matter is that you can decide to do the best for yourself if you take just a simple decision that you're not going to let your past dictate your future. That the fact that you do not have advantages would not stop you. And to be frank with you, it's not easy to actually make it in a country like Nigeria, because Nigeria has a peculiar situation. Our economy does not even promote entrepreneurship. And I think that the leadership has a role to play in creating the right environment for the youths to excel themselves. But I do not think that the youths should be waiting for government. The youth should be looking inwards to look in the society and decide, what can I do that can add value to this society? It's a question of a mindset issue. If you think like a millionaire, you become like a millionaire. If you think poverty, you become poor. So God has given us a lot of creativity, a lot of internal resources within us.
Yes.
But many of us are not utilizing it. We prefer to just rush to the churches. I'm not saying that prayers are not important, but looking for miracles. And while you are lazy, not doing anything, it does not work for me. And it doesn't work for me.
It can't work for anybody.
Exactly. So I think that the individual that wants to make it in life has to look inwards and take a decision that I'm going to better myself and take a daily decision. It's a long-term process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Per minute improvement is actually called kunai. Kunai is a Japanese word for constant and never-ending improvement in all areas of your life: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. And if you keep doing that, you find yourself thinking, you become more creative. You see opportunities that you never even thought were there coming up to you.
Okay.
Am I making any sense?
Very much, very much. I just remembered something. Maybe I should throw that in there. What of those who have become so laid back that they don't do so much, but they expect, quote unquote, miracle to come? What should they do?
Well, that is the irony, and I say a pity for those kinds of people. Because really, if you are, and you know something, they always do that, and they say the reasons they are the way they are because of demons. Everything demonic.
They now start blaming
Holy Ghost, fire. Holy Ghost, fire. Some of these demons are actually in the brains of the people. They need to, first of all, uproot the demons that are in their brain. Because I believe they uproot the demons in their brain, they'll be able to see clearly that there are no demons out there chasing after them. So the truth about it is that this constant and never-ending improvement in all areas of life is very crucial. I think that every organization and every church and every company should do what I call mental and emotional management programs for people.
For their staff.
For their staff.
People
have got to learn how to be the best version of themselves.
Please, let me take you a little back into a digressive area. Young men picking pants, for some strange reason, they start doing things that are totally untoward and unheard of. That men are picking women's, undies for some ritual and all of that. Then you also have those who depend solely on their pastors for all kinds of miraculous, and they even do their praying for them. Now, again, when you talked about being laid back, I'm asking that question. How do people just find themselves gravitating towards that kind of strange thought? Stealing somebody's undies for ritual.
Soni, it all boils down to mindset issues and people not even knowing their values in life. A lot of people go around, they don't even know their values. They're not living values. In this country, we are so focused on instantaneous wealth. That is the get-quick-rich syndrome. It's killing us. It's as if everything that matters is money. Nothing else is important. People go and make a lot of money and they go give it to the church. The church accepts and they start giving them seats in the front row. For goodness sake.
And that does not improve their business life profile.
But you know something? All the money they make, they're still not even happy inside. There are a lot of fake lives around. People are behaving as if they're happy outwardly, but inside there is so much dirty things happening inside. So I think that the truth about it is that people have got to learn that get-rich-quick syndrome doesn't make you happy. You can have money and you're still very, very unhappy. I'm not saying that money is not important, but I think we should go for first things first. First things first are living a principle-centered life, living a life that has meaning, looking for your passion and your purpose in life and try to fulfill it. It all boils down to mental and emotional management, which I believe I have the capacity with a lot of other people that are in the personal development world to teach people.
Please, do we have situations where your eating habits can affect your health situation? Your worries can affect your health situation. You've said that before we even, and so many of such things.
Sonny, I'm going to go a little bit personal here because I had my own personal experiences. I've not always been this phenomenal. I've not always been this healthy. After my father died, I got ill for 6 years.
Wow.
For 6 years of my life, I was not myself. I was very depressed, very irritable, and I just lost it. I tried all kinds of conventional medication. They alleviated some of the symptoms, but they really didn't quite help. That was when I started seeking alternative care. And I met a doctor in England, and he said to me, Ify, after doing my blood work, he said, Ify, you're not really sick. Your food, what kind of food do you eat? I said, I ate mostly cooked starches and cooked proteins. And he said to me, your food is making you sick. I said, how? How can my food...
Cooked starch?
Cooked starches and cooked proteins, meat.
Ooh.
That's what mostly my diet. I never went for vegetables and fruits, which are water-rich foods. Of course, Soni, you know your body is 70 to 80% water.
Yes.
So our bodies are supposed to be thriving much better on alkaline foods, which are mostly vegetables and fruits. The cooked starches and proteins make our blood acidic. And in an acid is actually equals to cancer. Cancer can never grow in an alkaline environment. So when somebody is having cancer, go and check the acidity of the blood. The blood is already acidic. And it's mostly the food we're eating that is making the blood acidic. So he told me, go back to Nigeria. You're not sick. Change your diet. Start eating mostly water-rich foods, vegetables, fruits. And then your mindset, because at that time I was so negatively programmed. I was a worrywart. Everything was a challenge for me. Even when there is no problem, I am seeing problems all over the place. So he said to me, go back to Nigeria, change your mindset. Because your mindset has a way of affecting your body.
Okay. We're told that we have a call, so I'm just going to answer that call and let's see. Hello? Hello, good evening. Okay. All right. We'll just take this time to take a short break. We'll be right back and be sure that we'll continue where you stopped just now. Sorry about that, but we'll be right back.
Okay.
Right.
Make your event a memorable one with captivating and well-organized event center at Lagos Television's prestigious Blue Roof with a capacity of more than 3,000 seats and a fully air-conditioned 750 seats combo hall capacity. Suitable for annual general meetings, government functions, exhibitions, religious activities, wedding ceremonies, burials, musical show, and many more in a well-secure environment. Spacious car park, uninterrupted power supply, and impeccable facilities. Take advantage of all of these at affordable rates.
For inquiries, please call 0808-252-8742 or 0802-282-9898.
Lagos Television Event Center, a tasteful event center for your delight.
Okay, so the lines are open. Just call us, and you see it on the screen, and ask any question you want to ask regarding the topic of the night, not politics, you know. But please feel free to ask any question. You have Dr. Ifeyinwa Nwakwesi here in the studio, and she's telling us a lot of things that we often take for granted. So call us, we respond. Blood, starchy food, cooked protein. Wow. And then fruits. Please, let's go back again. Let's talk about this blood issue.
Okay. You know, Soni, the food that we eat most of the time actually contributes in making our blood acidic. Another thing that contributes in making our blood acidic is lack of water intake, dehydration. And a lot of Nigerians, when I look at people, I look at their lips, their face, there's some dryness, and dehydration causes lethargy, it causes lack of energy. And you know something, Sonny? A lot of the bottled water that is being bottled for us are mostly acidic water. And we're just drinking acidic water. We're wasting money buying water, drinking, and it's not getting into our cells.
So if it's acidic water, Lagos is a saline region. So where do we get the fresh water from?
Well, that is the issue. That's an issue I'm actually looking at right now to see how we can provide what is called alkaline water that is hydrogen infused, that is antioxidant powerful, because you know there's so much free radicals all over our bodies because of the pollution in the environment, the food we eat, the stress we go through. There's so much free radicals. So the water we drink must be able to mop up the free radicals in our body, because free radicals actually cause distortion of the cells, denature the cells, and that's partly what causes cancer. So what I'm trying to say here is that I'm not saying the Nigerian food is not good. It's okay. the way we eat,
But how
but
we
we
develop
must
it, yeah.
add a lot of vegetables and fruits.
Good evening. How are you? Hello.
I'm good.
Yes. What's your name?
My name is Eddie Amaku. I'm calling from Calabar.
Okay, Eddie. Nice to hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Eddie Amaku.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to find out what may be the causes of diabetes. Because with what I'm hearing, it's like the only solution to diabetes is for one to take insulin. And two, I want to find out for how long can one take an insulin, and two, can overdose of insulin have an effect on human being?
Okay. Dr. Nwakwesi will answer those questions. Yes.
Okay. I would always answer this question this way. There is only one physiological disease, and that physiological disease is the constant over-acidification of the blood due to an inverted way of eating. Diabetes is actually a lifestyle-related disease, and sometimes the diet that we eat is partly responsible. But there's also an enzyme which is possibly deficient in some people, and it helps in creating diabetes. Sometimes the pancreas is overworked, and then it becomes a problem. Insulin, yes, I don't like to tell anybody stop insulin, but I can tell you right away that there's so many nutritional products that can support recovery from diabetes. But I will not advise that unless we're going to do that in combination with your physician. I will not just
so it has
come
to
and
be monitored.
It has to be monitored clearly. I can only advise that in collaboration with your physician. I'm not going to tell you, don't take your drugs. I don't say that because I'm a conventional medical practitioner. I will not tell you, don't take your drugs. But if you can consult me and I can work with your physician, we can really help you with your diabetes.
Okay, let me quickly say here that by the time the program is about to end, we'll probably give Dr. Nwakwesi's contact number, so that it becomes easy for you. All right?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was Calabar, right? Okay, now back in Lagos. Blood and those things we're taking. How do I know my blood is contaminated? You already said lack of water is an inducement that can cause that kind of thing. Too much of carbohydrates,
Too much cooked carbohydrates.
Too much cooked?
Too much cooked starch. Yeah, cook.
But I love starch.
You know we overcook our food. But by the way, you know you can eat as much starch as you like if you can separate it from your protein. If you're eating starch and you eat it with a lot of salads and vegetables, and keep it away from your meat. When you want to eat meat, you eat meat with your vegetables. You can eat as much. It doesn't.
Soup is vegetables anyway.
Exactly.
So there should be no meat in it.
Because combining the two of them impedes the digestive system. And as you know, as you grow older, your digestive capability is decreased.
If some people are watching at home, I'm sure they are going to stop my diet immediately. Oh my God. Okay, now, wow. Another question, which comes from, the lines are free. If you want to call us, please feel free to call. Another question that bothers my mind is the way mood swings affect individuals, whether male or female. Now, is diet also responsible for that? Or
Soni, of course, there are nutritional deficiencies that can lead to mood swings. So what I always tell people is this is the time, and I mean it, Soni, this is the time for people to take their health as a priority, not when there's already a crisis. Because sometimes we are not lucky to have time to reverse the illness. So I always recommend to Nigerians, please get a blood work done. Now, in getting
when you say blood work,
blood analysis,
Okay.
let them take your blood and send it for blood chemistry. There are basic tests that are done on blood. But the issue, which I want to raise this evening, our medical doctors are trained to look at the blood work from a disease perspective. So, you see, when a medical doctor is looking at the blood work, by the time the liver enzymes, for instance, are high, there's already a cell damage in the liver. But we integrative healthcare practitioners and natural medical doctors look for underlying dysfunctions. You look for trends that are showing there's already going to be an imbalance. And we point it out recommend what needs to be done to the client to reverse it so that it doesn't get to a disease state. Isn't that a better practice?
It is.
So that you can nip things in the bud before they get out of hand. So what we actually do right now is what is called functional health reports, which looks at your blood work from a different perspective and gives you a report that shows all your weaknesses, everything in your body that is not working
Hello,
well.
good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good.
What's your name?
Yeah, so I'm watching the program now.
Where are you watching from?
Akwa Ibom.
Okay. That's our zone tonight.
Calabar.
Okay. Yes, what's your name, please?
My name is Leo.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So, concerning the blood pressure, BP,
Okay.
my name is Leo.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So, how can an individual prevent the occurrence of blood pressure? Things that an individual can do so that you won't maybe create room for blood pressure to occur in a life.
Okay.
Okay, blood pressure is actually
Thank
a life-related illness. So it will help me to tell you about some secrets of vibrant health that if you do, you're probably never going to have hypertension, and that's by God's grace. It's not by my power. So the first thing I think that you need to do not to have hypertension is to learn stress management. Because stress is just so topical. A lot of people are under so much stress and it's affecting their life negatively. You need to have what is called a healthy fitness program. You do not over-exercise. Because a lot of people that are exercising are over-exercising. They're actually damaging their heart by over-exercising and exceeding their target heart rate. Thirdly, you need to manage your mindset, because if your mindset is negatively programmed, you're going to be worried all the time. And there's nothing that leads to hypertension as much as worry. Then you need to make sure that the blood circulation in your body is, most of our vessels are blocked. You know what I'm talking about? Most of the vessels in our blood are blocked by deposits of all the kinds of acidic food we eat. And it's important that you ask your doctor to help you, give you something that can remove deposits from the blood, from the vessels, so that the blood can flow very well. Because the heart, when it's going to be working against all kinds of deposits in the vessel, your BP will naturally go up. And of course, there are so many natural products that can help you manage your BP. But like I always say, it has to be in collaboration with your physician. I do not give people just products like that without getting their doctors involved in the treatment.
Okay. Hello, somebody on the line? Okay. Now, one more question. Just routine exercising, I'm told, helps the body circulate very well. So, if that is the case, as you are over 50, how do you cope with routine exercise? If what you just said now is don't over-exercise.
Yes, yes.
What are the advisory roles you should play?
Well, the thing about exercise is that a lot of people who are exercising are actually doing that in detriment to their health. Because they think that the more they go to the gym and work out for 2-3 hours, you know, just bouncing themselves up and down, that is actually a prerequisite to disease. Because each time you over-exercise and exceed your target heart rate, you're actually damaging the heart. So there is a target heart rate that everyone that wants to exercise should know, so that they don't over-exceed their target heart rate. And actually, a simple walk. That's why I prefer people walking on the bridge. It's very, very healthy. Sometimes you run, but you have to be careful that you don't over-exceed your target heart rate.
So, okay, over-exceeding your target heart rate, can we say in minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, not 2 hours?
Well, I can always say this. If you subtract 180, subtract your age from 180, you can get an average. If, for instance, I am going to be 66 in May this year.
You don't look it, man.
Yes. I'm going to be 66 in May, and if I want to check my target heart rate, it should be 180 minus 66. Can you help me with the figure?
180 minus 60, that would be about 124, something like that?
Precisely. That's about the target heart rate I should stick. Now, how do I monitor my target heart rate? There are heart rate monitors being sold. It's not too expensive. People can buy and wait so that as you're exercising, you'll be watching it. Once you exceed it, you begin to slow down. That is very, very critical.
Please note again,
Very critical.
your heart rate has to be measured in a very special way. You said, what did you call it now?
180 minus your age.
180 minus your age. If you're 24 and you remove
180 from
180, so that would be 166.
You know that I'm not a mathematician.
Or 160. Okay, well, I mean, close enough. Or 164.
But again, you have to be careful that if you've not been exercising for a long time, or if you're sick.
Hello, hello.
Okay. Yes, yes. How are you? Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Fine, thank you.
Yeah. Your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Joshua Remy. I'm calling from Bonny Island.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
So I want to ask the doctor the question concerning the issue is raising that he has to work with your doctor. She has to work with your doctor before he can recommend.
Yeah.
What if your doctor is not willing to collaborate?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know how to answer that because, you know, in Nigeria, you have to be very careful when you're dealing with patients because you don't want anybody to say you told them to go on natural therapy and something happened. But by and large, we can also look at that. If we speak to your doctor and it becomes unreasonable, we can sometimes help you with nutritional support, which we know would help you to become healthier.
So there has to be a level of trust between doctor and patient.
But let me clarify this. It actually, right now I'm talking about people that are really sick.
Okay.
I'm not talking about somebody that is ambulatory, that is having some minor issues or just trying to improve your health. But I'm talking about very sick people. I would not take on a very sick patient and begin to manage him or her on my own. I wouldn't do that. I have to do that in collaboration with the physician.
Okay. Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Yes, she's dropped already.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Where do we now move from?
Okay, so I need to talk about blood work.
Blood work, yes.
Okay.
What is blood work?
You know, blood work is the blood test that we do on a everyday basis.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Before we talk about blood work, okay, yes, what's your name, sir?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
What is your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Zamfara State.
Okay. What's your name?
I'm watching the program, so I want to say something about the issue of blood pressure.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, good evening. Yeah, my name is Eric.
Move away from your television set.
Okay, my name is Eric.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to ask is that I want to ask the doctor, if assuming somebody that has high blood pressure already, and because I hear that you say that you can be doing exercise. I want to know if somebody, because sometimes when you have like me, I have this high blood pressure, and if I want to do exercise, little exercise that I will do will make I will feel weak and pain in my chest. So I want to know, is it the exercise, is it important for people that have it or people that don't have it?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. My response to your question would be that if you're the kind of person that gets chest pain while you're exercising, I think it's important that you do a blood work and a doctor assesses it and finds out what could be happening so that you don't go and endanger your life and just have a crisis. We wouldn't want that to happen to you. So it's important that you find time to do a blood work and let a doctor that can analyze it properly, analyze it and tell you what's happening in your system. So that if there's anything that is happening that could be a risk factor, you are told. So I wouldn't tell you to just go start exercising if you're the kind of person that gets chest pain.
But I have a question, please.
Yeah.
What happens when somebody is feeling, he talked about chest pain when he does exercise. That's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign. That's why I'm saying that it's important that we check it out and find out what's happening. It could be that the vessels have narrowed enough to begin to cause some sort of deficiency of blood going to some parts of the heart. Sometimes there's something called transient ischemic attack. That's how it starts. People start having pain, and they now, next time they're going to have a massive heart attack, and that happens. So we have to be careful about that.
Okay, we only have 1 minute to go.
Okay.
How can you encapsulate everything that has been discussed?
Okay.
In fact, you may have to come back for another edition.
Yes, I'll be willing. Now,
Yes.
my message to Nigerians is that your health is your most valued possession. We are so focused on creating wealth, building our careers, getting married, staying in marriages, and so many other things that we do not take our health as seriously as we should. And you know something? When health fails, everything else fails. Wow. So my advice to Nigerians is please make your health a priority. Do a blood work. Let us find out whatever dysfunctions are in there and advise you on what to do. And believe me, health is just spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. It's a total balance. Thank you very much.
And another thing is cut down on that carbohydrate that you keep cooking and eating, and cut down on how you consume protein as well, especially cooked ones, and take a lot of vegetables, she's also said. And when you do exercise, do it in moderation. Well, check your BP, check your, what's the other one? Your heart rate, your blood, so many things. But anyway, for me, it's a good sign and a good lesson I have learned tonight. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start doing those things you just talked about, and I'll start stop taking for granted what I've always concluded was the best. Thank you for being with us on Soni Irabor Live tonight on Lagos Television. And also, just note, we're always on YouTube. And I'm happy that we're covering the whole country now, thanks to DSTV, channel 256, and Lagos Television on free-to-air. Madam, thank you. Can I shake your hands, please?
Sure.
I didn't believe when you said your
you,
age. Oh, my God.
Yes, I'm 66 and phenomenal.
I'll be 67 in 2 months.
How old will you be?
67.
Wow, you look good.
So I'm older than you by 1 year. So
Sonny, you look very good.
Thank you so much, everyone, and good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.